Have you just found a village and maybe you want to make it look a little bit nicer? Or are you building one from scratch? Like me, go watch the Hardcore series, and maybe you need some ideas. From pathways and walls to houses and other decorations, you will definitely find multiple builds for your Minecraft village in this video. Let's get started. First up, we're taking a look at a whole bunch of just general village decorations, firstly starting off with this nice little cart design. So this is really simple and easy to build. All it is a bunch of spruce slabs, trapdoors, and this little design here for the wheel. We've got a whole bunch of random decorations on top of that, and it's also underneath a nice roof as well. For this next one, we have this little bridge. So this is very useful for crossing a narrow river like this one. You can of course stretch this out as far as you want to go for any like kind of length of river that you have. And something else that makes this look really cool as well is that we've used some mossy blocks inside of the water to make it look like it has been like eroding or something like that. Next, we have this nice camp design, and this might be like a cool kind of build for a village that might be like under construction, or maybe it has like some campsites on the outskirts or something like that. So for this design, we just have these two different tent designs. We've got the same cart design that I showcased previously. We've got a couple of log piles around the place, some ore piles, this nice campfire design, and also some horse stables as well. For this next design, we actually have a mini tower. So this might be a really nice build to put alongside your walls or something like that, or maybe have like some outpost towers against your walls or on the outside or anything like that. As you can see, I have a bigger version over here that I never actually finished because it looked kind of weird, but just as a bonus extra little build, this is also a nice decoration to add alongside your pathways and stuff like that, just having like a whole bunch of random storage around the place. For this next one, we have a nice custom tree design, and this one's actually an upgrade to an existing villager structure. The whole idea behind this is you just build a main stem, and then you just build some branches off it just randomly like this, and then you cover every single exposed face of the wood here with some leaves, and you pretty much always get a really nice looking tree by doing this. As long as you place the branches in a nice aesthetic way, your tree will look really cool. For the next village decoration, we actually have a bigger custom tree design. So as you can see, this one is encased in a nice little garden area where we've lined it with some leaves and also some grass and flowers. And then as we come up here, we have pretty much the same thing that I just explained before, where we have branches kind of sprawling off in each direction. And then we've made this one look kind of more like a weeping willow tree, where on the ends of the branches, we've made the leaves kind of dip down a little bit more. For the next village decoration, we have a little mini gazebo thing. This one's pretty simple. It just consists of a nice spruce wood frame here. We've added a little bit of a slab and stair roof to this. For the next one, we have something that's pretty similar to the gazebo, except, I mean, it's a pond, but it's similar in that we have like the 4 pathways as well that lead off in every direction. For the next one, we have a nice little fountain design. So we've got a nice circular base here, which leads up to the actual main fountain, which is just a main like stem thing. But yeah, the water starts from here inside of this little wall, and it flows out into the stairs and then over the sides here and then down into the bottom. For the next one, we have something that is pretty similar to the gazebo. I mean, it's basically the exact same build, but we've actually converted it into a well. So instead of just having the platform here, we've instead dug a hole, and we've also added a little hanging cauldron here to look like the actual bucket that would go down and collect the water. For the next decoration, we have a bit of a statue here. So this one's on top of like a nice garden, and then yeah, the statue is just made up of some polished andesite, stone bricks, cracked stone bricks, and stone. For the next decoration design, we actually have a bit of a marketplace design. So this one is pretty cool. We've got 4 different stall designs that you could easily repeat as much as you want in like as big of an area as you need. For the next village decoration, we actually have a little mini bell tower. So all this is pretty much just a 3x3 little tower design, and then we've added this nice doorway kind of arch to every single side. I don't know why I put a doorway on every single side. You'd probably just be fine with having one on one side. But yeah, and also we have the bell up here in this window as well. And yeah, just a really cool little village decoration. All right, now we're taking a look at a whole bunch of different farm designs that would look really cool added to any village. The first one here is a nice tiered farm design where we have a platform with some crops here. This pathway also leads up over here to a little staircase and up to our second platform as well with some different crops inside of that. For the next farm, we have one that's actually surrounded by a little pond and meant to look a little bit more natural compared to something like that. So yeah, we've got a tiny little pond here with a nice pathway that kind of surrounds it. It also leads over to this bench and custom tree as well. And then yeah, on the sides, we also have a big wheat field, and then on the other side, we also have some potato and carrots too. Onto the next one, we have something that's a little bit more efficient, but also still pretty aesthetic. So this one's just a simple little field. We've got 4 separated mini fields inside of this big closed off area. I would also recommend putting a fence gate here, but it might also make this look weird, but then you could fix that by using some lanterns on top of here if you wanted to. Also, for an extra little bonus tip, if you don't want to put lanterns here, you could put string on top of them to make the walls look like this. Onto the next one, we have something that is way more efficient than the previous one, but in terms turn is a little less aesthetically pleasing. So I mean, it's up to you on how you want to balance these things, but yeah, so this one's pretty cool. We have a button here with a redstone line that runs underneath here and up to these dispensers, which will then dispense a bucket of water if there was one in here. And yeah, so pressing this button would dispense all of the water buckets, and then that would flow down and push all of the crops into these hoppers and then into this chest here. Next up, we're taking a look at a couple of larger farms this time. The first one being a similar design to the previous farm. And then we have this tiered design, except this time we have 4 instead of 2, and they're also a lot bigger. So our path starts down here and it continues all the way up around to the top. We also have a chest and a composter for every single layer as well. For the next one, we also have something that is similar to the pond one previously, except this time it's more of a river. We also have a nice little bridge over this and a couple of lanterns that are in the water. And then on the sides, we also have a nice pathway, which also has some crops beside all of those as well. For the next large farm, we have, once again, another field one, except this time it's a lot larger and it's also circular, which looks really nice. This one would fit really well into a more simplistic or medieval themed village, although it may need a little bit of mob proofing, so just make sure all of these are at least 1.5 blocks higher. Onto the next farm, we once again have another field, except this time it is more spread apart and also has some bigger squares. This is also the biggest area that 1 block of water can power, I guess. And yeah, each section also has their own little storage and composter as well. Now, maybe you're looking for more of a build in terms of a farm, and this one is gonna do that perfectly for you. This build also has a full tutorial video on my channel, so be sure to check that out if you want to build this for yourself. And yeah, so this one is pretty much just a multi-layered farm, so it's got multiple floors of separated fields. I can take you on a quick little tour through the front door. Firstly, on this first layer, we have, of course, 2 separate fields. Each layer also has their own composter, barrel, chest, and another composter. So now we can head up to the second floor using the ladder, and then yeah, we also have some more farms up here as well. I mean, who would have guessed it? Now, the cool thing about this is you can keep going up as far as you want to go. All of these stories are like the exact same thing, so you can just repeat this as far up as you want, and then you can just cap it off with the nice roof design here. For the next farm, we actually have a fully automatic farm. So this one consists of 2 sides. We've got obviously the left and right side. I've gone with pretty much carrots in this area because I felt that was the most useful. And then the whole idea behind this one is that these villagers will come over here to this villager that's stuck in here. They'll try and throw all of their excess crops into this guy so he can breed, but all of those crops are actually going to be thrown into the minecart hopper here and then into the barrels. And so I've actually left these farms going for not too long, and they've actually accumulated a whole bunch of crops. So this is definitely a very useful build for your village, and it still looks really cool as well. For the next farm, we have the fully automatic sugarcane farm. And so most people would probably hide something like this inside their base or underground or something, but I like to showcase it in a nice build. So all it is the simple sugarcane design that everyone uses. It's just got observers with pistons below, and then it's got a line of redstone behind those. You can find a tutorial for it on my channel or anywhere else. But the cool thing about this one is that we've encased it with a whole build. And yeah, I definitely encourage you to do the same thing for your sugarcane farms, your melon farms, and stuff like that. And now for the final farm design, we have something that is pretty different compared to everything else. We actually have a Japanese themed farm here. This was a really cool idea that I came up with quite a long time ago, in that we have some nice bamboo that is surrounding this crop field. It's not very mob proof, but it definitely looks pretty cool. Next up, let's take a quick look at 3 different mine entrances, all with increasing detail and size. The first one here, of course, being the smallest one. This is just kind of like a chunk taken out of an area and put into a flat spot, so just don't worry about that. But yeah, so for this mine entrance, we have 2 separated pathways that both lead up into one over here and then up into the actual mine entrance itself. And the one thing that makes this mine entrance different from a lot of other mine entrances is that instead of it just being right on the ground, it actually is elevated into the side of the mountain here. Next up, onto the second mine entrance. As you can see, this one is a pretty similar style to the previous one, but it's a little bit bigger and a little bit more detailed. So compared to the last one, we have a bigger staircase. As you can see, it also, like I said, has more detail. This is supposed to be that way. Don't worry about that. So yeah, we've added a whole bunch more signs, trapdoors, and some railings as well around the place on the actual staircase. Then as we come to the interior, as you can see, we actually have 2 different little stations for the minecarts where they can be sent down and then back up here. You might want to put a lever here to switch this one between that way and this side. And now onto the final mine entrance. As you can see, this one is in a completely different style from the previous 2. So this one's more of like a medieval kind of established theme one, as we have like this big smoker smelting thing in the back here that should, well, it should be linked up to something on the inside. Like you could probably make a big furnace room, just kind of take a chunk out of the wall here and just line the walls with a bunch of furnaces. That would definitely look really cool. Yeah, compared to the other ones, we have a lot more details on the exterior as well. Like we have the actual minecart little stations out here. We have some barrels and scattered logs around the place. We've got like a little storage pile over here, some ore piles as well, and also some log piles too. Next up, let's take a look at a couple of fishing dock designs. The first one here being a predominantly wood-themed kind of one, and it's very long as well. So as you can see at the start here, this is obviously the entrance to the dock. Once you head left over here, it heads to like a little shopping stall thing. I don't know what gamer loot inside is meant to be. Then heading back to the main dock and turning right down here, we have our docking area for our boats. And then for the final section over here, we have a little bit of a fishing platform. For the next dock, we have my ultimate fishing dock, and something cool about this one is it actually has a full tutorial video on my YouTube channel, so if you want to build this for yourself, just go check that out. So this one is actually pretty similar to the one that we just looked at, in that we have this big main kind of path that leads down to a fishing platform, and off to the right here we have a boat docking section. But the main way that this one differs from the previous one is that we have a pretty big main building over here. So we have a similar shop front over here, and then we can actually go through the front door here. And on the inside we have a little bit of storage, some crafting, smelting, and stuff like that. And then we can head up the ladder to the second floor where we have a bedroom, a little bit more storage, and then out here we also have a little balcony as well. Now for the final dock, we're over on my hardcore world. But yeah, so for this one we once again have a similar kind of main dock area. To the right over here we have our shop front section with a little bit of storage and some random stuff in behind here. Then back over this way to the left we have a section here to park up some boats, and then similarly over here we also have the exact same thing. Next up, we're taking a look at a couple of various house designs and also some village profession buildings as well. And for this first house we have the most simplistic design. It's a 7x7 square with a nice little roof here that goes from slabs into some stairs as well, so it makes it look a little bit more interesting. And now we can head on inside, and as you can see we have a triple wide bed. I've mainly done this just so as many villagers can live in here as possible. But yeah, for some other decorations we've got a little table here, and then over here as well above the door we also have a little bit of a storage section as well. For the next house we actually have more of a boarding house. So as you can see, this one's a pretty similar design to the previous one, except it is a lot longer, so it's a rectangular shape. But yeah, so we can head on inside, and as you can see the design for this one is pretty much just fully rooms. So every single room pretty much just looks like this. It just has a bed inside, and then we can also head upstairs and take a look up here, and we just have a whole bunch of beds. For the next house design we have something a little bit more detailed compared to the other ones, but it is a pretty similar size as well, if not a little bit smaller. So we've got a 2-story rectangular shaped one at the back, and then at the front here we have a 1-story area where our door actually connects into. And as you can see, this one is not complete, so I apologize for that. But I mean, you can really decorate the interior however you want. I've got storage over here, smelting over here, and yeah. And then upstairs we could probably fit in, yeah, like a bedroom and some more crafting and some storage and stuff like that. For the next house design, we actually have something that's more of like a merchant's shop. So this could be used as like a villager profession building if you really wanted. But yeah, so for this one we've added a nice little shop area on the outside here. So we've got some tables with a whole bunch of like items for sale theoretically. And then over here we have our front door entrance onto the inside of where the merchant would live. As you can see, this one is in complete shambles because I never finished it. And yeah, and then we also have a couple of bonus little builds here in this area as well. So we've got a little bit of a crop farm. This one's kind of just been placed to match the area that it's in, which is something that you could do for pretty much any area, of course. And then for the other bonus build in this area, we have a nice bridge that connects the mainland to like this little other section of mainland, I guess. And something as well that makes this bridge stand out from a lot of other bridges is it has a little roofed section in the center, which looks really nice. You could also place this same roofed design on the left and right side, obviously leaving out the middle one, and this will look really nice like that as well. For this next house build, I've showcased how you can easily transform an existing villager house into a pretty nice looking one. So as you can see, the original house is up over here. It's a little bit ugly in my opinion. The cobblestone is just like, I don't know, I don't like using that for builds, and the simple staircase roof as well is a little bit dated. So coming back down over here, we've transformed it into a nice slab roof, which is a little bit more mellow, but honestly you could probably do the slab into the stair roof that I've showcased just before. But yeah, we've also made it a little bit bigger. We've added some inset walls as well, so the pillars are actually on the outside and not in line with the walls. And then on the inside as well, it is pretty small, so we've just added a little bit of a table, a bookshelf, and a bed as well. Now into some of the villager profession houses. The first one here we have is the archery range, which would obviously house the Fletchers. So for this one, we've got a pretty interesting design where we have a 2-story section on the side here, and then on the right we have a 1-story little area, and this is actually the area where the like main archery range is. As you can see, we have a target over here and a couple of bows as well. Heading inside, we have a very small area. We've just pretty much got a whole bunch of fletching tables, a crafting table, and a little bit of storage as well. For the next build, we have the blacksmith design. So this one consists of a rectangular building, and then on the outside as well, we have a whole bunch of decorations. So firstly, over here, we have our little smelting area with a chimney chimney as well up here. In front of that, we have a couple of anvils. This was very expensive to do, but it was definitely worth it. It looks really cool. And then onto the inside, we have a very simple design. First up, we're greeted with a little bit of like a tool rack storage thing. We've got a table here, and then off to the right, we have our main storage area. And now for the final villager profession house, we have a library, and this one is pretty big compared to all of the other ones. So this one consists of a big rectangular building at the back, and then the front two ones are only 1 story tall and have a little bit more of a mellow roof as well. As you can see, this one's just slabs, and then this one on the side is the slab and stair style roof. Heading on inside, as you can see, we have a nice little garden on the outside, and then we can head on through. This one is actually incomplete. I have not finished this one yet in the series. It's also set up a little bit weirdly because I wanted to encase my villagers in here. I'm not sure where I'm going to put over there, but I'll figure that out. And then upstairs as well is completely empty. I'll probably put like maybe storage up here or something else. I don't know. You can figure that out. All right, now taking a look at a couple of wall designs. And for the first 4 we'll be looking at are all medieval themed. And for the first one here, we actually have a nice arch design. And so to build this wall, it's pretty easy. All it is just this simple section right here, and it's just repeated. You can just keep going as far as you want with this around your entire village. That's pretty much the theme that I like to do with all of my walls. For the next medieval wall, we have yet another simple but interesting design. This time it's this section here that's repeatable. So we have main pillars every second block, and then on every second pillar, we have this design here with some walls and also buttons that kind of stick out. And then on the middle ones, we just have a upside down stair here, and then an azalea as well on that same layer. And then on the inside here, we also have some spruce trapdoors for some windows. Well, they're not really meant to be windows, but I mean, you could place them like this so that they kind of open up like windows. I mean, it's entirely up to you. For the next medieval wall, we have one that actually has a tower in the center. We also have a more simplistic design on the front. We don't have any flowers or anything. I mean, except for this one that's like a naturally generated one, so just don't worry about that. But yeah, on the front, we have some spruce fence gates that are like theoretically holding up these slabs. And we also have some nice inset walls here with some stripped spruce logs. Now for the final medieval style wall, this one is a little bit more established compared to the rest of them, in that we have towers on each side, and then we also have a doorway in the center. I mean, the idea isn't to repeat the doorway in every single section of your wall. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but if you didn't want to, of course, you could just replace these blocks here with some more stripped spruce logs. Now for the final wall, we actually have a palisade style wall. Compared to the other ones, this is very simple to build, except it does use a lot of wood. So all we're doing is alternating between the back and the front here, with the back ones being spruce logs and the front ones being stripped spruce logs. We've also got a line of signs on all of them, and then on the bottom as well, we're going between slabs and stairs. Something cool as well is you could put torches on top of these if you wanted it to be a little bit more bright around your walls. And just for a little bonus, we have another different style of palisade wall back here. So we've added in some spruce planks. We've also added some andesite walls underneath some of the spruce fences here. And to go with all of the wall designs, we have a couple of gate designs too. The first one here that we're looking at is the medieval design. So this one simply consists of 2 small little towers on either side, and then in the middle we have a nice little archway as well. For the next design, we have one that is more predominantly wooden, and I don't really know what kind of theme this is, but we'll just go with like a wooden medieval, I guess. And similar to the previous one, we have these sides. They're not really towers, but they do kind of like look like ones, I guess. And then in the middle here, we have a doorway as well. For the next gate, we actually have a ruined one. So it's not very useful, but it definitely looks really cool for like a ruined themed village or anything like that. Something as well that I love doing with my ruined builds is adding in a little campsite with some chairs around it to make it look like someone has moved in here and is living under this ruined structure. And for the final gate design, we have another one that isn't really a gate, but I mean, it can be one. Maybe for the entrance to like a fairy tale themed village or something like that, this one would definitely look really cool. And all it simply consists of is a nice custom made arch design here. At the bottom, we've got some stone and some other decorations around the place as well. All right, now for the final category of builds of the video, we're going to be taking a look at a whole bunch of different path designs. The first one here being the medieval style. So this one is actually just a really simple pathway. All it consists of is a 2-wide path using some stone, andesite, and some stone bricks as well. We've also added some stone buttons on the side as little rocks along the pathway. And then as we've come to this little clearing, like flat area, we have added in a little bit of a campsite, a wagon, and also a bit of a storage area as well. For the next pathway, we have one in a more natural style, and that we're using some standard dirt path blocks. And this also goes underneath a big archway design as well, with a whole bunch of custom little mini trees. Underneath the arch, we're using some dripstone, some spore blossoms. Alongside the path, we also have a nice river as well that is all decorated with moss and sugarcane and stuff. For the next pathway, we have the dark medieval path. And so this one's in more of like a gothic or like dark style. So we have some custom spruce trees on the left of the path here. Down on the path, we're using some deep slate blocks for a nice dark theme. And then we've also sprinkled in some mycelium and also some coarse dirt into the ground around the trees as well. For the next path, we have a granite granite pathway. So this one has some similar decorations to the previous ones in that we have some custom trees. We've also got some bushes as well and little stones around the place using granite and bricks. And we've also added in a nice little lamppost design to this one as well. All right, now for the final pathway, we have a simple stone one. So this pathway consists of some stone, andesite, and stone bricks, a really nice texture to add to any kind of medieval theme build, like even a house or yeah, like this one in a pathway. And so for this one, we actually have a nice little bridge design as well. So maybe if you have to go over a river or anything like that that is pretty small, you could add this in. Or I mean, you could do what I did and just actually make a little river to go over just so it looks nice. We've got a custom little mini weeping willow tree over here as well, which really adds a nice little bit of life to the area. And yeah, definitely a really nice pathway for a medieval style of village. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend checking out my 30 build project series where I've probably showcased over 200 builds at this point. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.